everybody. Happy New Year.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. We are starting off the live by having Jason open this bottle of Prosecco. So either it's going to come right for my face
Oh, see,
or the
remember
camera.
I told you my wrist hurt before we started?
So there's nothing like kicking off a live with a little bit of danger, right? What's a little bit of danger if without a little reward? Oh, my goodness.
Giant box just behind us.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I shoved some boxes that were behind us out of the way, and they fell over.
We tried to make it look so fancy in here, and instead we...
That were behind me somewhere.
Oh my goodness. Well, official cheers to 2025 to all of you, and we are so thrilled that you're here tonight. This is an all-community evening meeting that normally we do these lives once a month for members of our mile marker community, but being this the first live of 2025, we thought what a wonderful opportunity, especially since we're getting ready to head to Tampa here in just a few days. What a wonderful opportunity for all of us to come together in an all community, a little all skate evening. So we're so thrilled to welcome so many of you and to see so many mile marker members here tonight as well.
Since we have more people than normal, normally we keep it a little bit more informal, but if you do have a question, if you could like all caps, put the word question or just the letter Q ahead of it.
Answer me! That would be helpful.
The comments just kind of fly really quickly and we try to read them all, but we don't necessarily get to see all of them or get back to all of them or whatever.
We should get a moderator someday. Wouldn't that be cool? And then they could ensure that we don't knock boxes over. So, all right, well, there we go. We're still using these cheap plastic flutes that I bought for a live several months ago. Eventually, we'll get new barware in here. Cheers to all of you. Welcome to the live tonight. Oh, yeah, that's good.
We're preparing to head out in less than a week now. We take the kids to Kansas City, drop them off at the in-laws who just got dumped on with a bunch of snow. Hi, Dave and Sue.
They did.
Abby's brother was... Abby's brother.
Oh, I can tell that. I'll tell that story in a little bit because, I mean, that is... I'm real tired today. Very tired today. And I'm not even a part of this snowstorm.
Hopefully snow won't affect our travels, but we're taking the kids to Kansas City in a few days, and then we hop on a plane to head to Florida, where we go to the Florida RV Super Show in Tampa, and we get to debut the RV Miles fifth wheel prototype, and we're very, very excited about that.
So anxious.
And then we get on a cruise.
I saw it really quick, so I'm going to grab it. Several of you have asked how I'm feeling, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for asking. Just really quick, I have spent basically the entire last 35, 40 days pretty sick. First with strep, then I was treated for strep, and during that time that I was being treated for strep, I developed a really bad cough that I thought was just hanging on, as I'd never had strep before, so I didn't know what to expect. And I thought it was just a natural progression of the healing process, but that hung on for 2 weeks and got really bad. I was sleeping on the couch. I felt like sometimes like I couldn't really breathe. I was pretty miserable. So I spoke to my doctor. I was asked to come back in, ended up having a bronchial infection, went back on another round of 10 days worth of antibiotics, which I'm currently on, as well as a steroid. So my voice, you can hear it a little bit. Please forgive me if at some point I turn and I have to cough or something. I will try to do my best to be away from the microphone when that happens. But please forgive my voice as well. It has been a really rough cold and flu season here in our hometown. We have hospitals at capacity, ERs are at 10-hour waits. It's hard to find medication. RSV is going around here. So we're working really hard to stay as healthy as we can because we know that we've got some big ticket things coming up. But thank you to everyone that asked how I was doing. I really appreciate that. You guys are so kind. Jason seems to be trying to pull up where you're going to find
So there was a question about where to find us at the show, where to find the Sabre.
We will be wherever Sabre is.
The deal is, so there's a map on the website of the Super Show. However, it's all the Forest River brands. There's like 50 Forest River brands. They're all just listed right now on there as Forest River. I suspect that the in-person maps will be much more detailed, but Sabre could be anywhere because Forest River is all over the map.
And we'll get more detail about that as we get closer to the event.
We'll probably send out on Facebook like the exact location and all that.
Yeah, so make sure if you're not already, just follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and then jump on our mailing list if you're not on it already, because we'll make sure that the information gets out as best we can. And I'm pretty sure that Sabre will also share this information too, so if you want to follow them as well, just to have a little bit of backup. Now, I know we're getting questions here, but we do have questions. We did open up questions to our mile marker Facebook group earlier today to give them a chance to get some questions in, since this is normally their live time with us. So I want to grab these really quick, and I'm sure that will help orchestrate some conversations.
I just realized our names are backwards. You're Jason, and I'm Abby.
I feel so honored. It's like amazing. And you know what? If you could just slide over there, please. I'm going to do a news video really quick. So first off, we're going to start off with some camping questions because it is that time of year, right? We're all thinking or have been thinking about our camping for the season. And Brian wanted to know that their family is contemplating a trip to New Mexico this summer. We will have about 2 weeks to spend in total, and we'll be coming from the Chicago area, represent. They know they're going to have 4 days of round trip travel. They would love to know, and we've actually were asked this by our friend Rex as well, another mile marker member, about some of our favorite spots in New Mexico. It's no secret that Jason and I love New Mexico. We have been, sometimes we just stare at a computer and look at land that's for sale in New Mexico. We are always kind of thinking about like our next season in life, and we know that season involves New Mexico. So they would love to know if we have some advice on where to go. And of course, personally speaking, there's not a bad place in New Mexico that at least a place we haven't found yet. I can say that. Everywhere we've gone, we have loved.
It's a state that has lots of different things going on. And we've got some friends in the group here that are residents of New Mexico that would be better at explaining some of their favorite places than we would.
Yes, chime in, friends.
We love Santa Fe. We love Bandelier National Monument, which is not too far outside of Santa Fe. Valles Caldera, which is a really underrated, undervisited National Park Service site.
Go. It is so cool. It's so cool.
And then down in the southern half of the state, you've got Carlsbad Caverns, which is one of the most amazing places for me personally, that I've ever visited. That was one thing. Whenever somebody asks me like, what's one thing that really surprised you in your travels, Carlsbad Caverns is always up there on the list for me.
Take the natural entrance.
Yeah, you
down,
gotta walk the natural
and then
entrance
the elevator.
And the elevator back up.
We always recommend, if you're a family, if you're traveling with young people, Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands. Excuse me, those two parks right up there for our boys as some of their biggest, best core memories of our time with RV travel. White Sands, if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to love it for that. If you just want to be somewhere where you feel like you're in the wide open, and again, it's sort of free range within the park, like you can walk wherever you want to walk. You want to go sledding. The sledding is so much fun in White Sands. There's a great state park that's not far from there, Oliver Lee Memorial State Park, great New Mexico State Park. There's some good hiking in that park as well.
There's also some cool, like, the history of the atomic bomb cores and there's space history in the area as well. And then we really also like the little town of Silver City, which is on the southwest side of the state. And from Silver City, you can head up to the Gila Cliff Dwellings in the Gila National Forest, which is really forest-like and quite different from the rest of the state. There's a great, also in the southern part of the state, there's a really, really great New Mexico State Park called City of Rocks, where you can camp within these giant rock formations. It's really cool. Yeah, if you can, we recommend trying to boondock in that park because that allows you to actually dry camp. Dry camping. The campsites are some of them are hard to get into.
Yes.
We can be honest
so
about that,
we do recommend dry camping. They do have some partial hookups there, but they're all going to just kind of be in a row together away from the rock formations. And when you're doing dry camping, you get to actually be in the rock formations. If you go over, for anyone that's interested, if you go over to our Instagram account, if you go over to RV Miles, I think it's been a couple of months, but I posted a reel a couple months ago of our campsite there at City of Rocks. And this was back when we were in the Sabre 37 FLL. That was our 43-foot fifth wheel that we owned prior to the 25-foot that we took from Baja to Alaska. We have it tucked in at one of those dry camping sites, and that site is phenomenal. It is amazing. It is a double level site. It's just
the kids just
crazy great
playing through the rocks and stuff.
It's so wonderful. So those are a few things that we recommend for
And I see
New
there's
Mexico.
a bunch of people mentioning some stuff in the comments too, which is great. And people that were just there.
I love it.
Or are there now?
are there now? And I am jealous. I am missing that southwest west sunset. There's a lot of you in Quartzsite right now, and my heart is just like kind of aching to be out there those warm days and cold nights.
Turned up.
Oh,
There you
turn
go.
it up then.
It's just because you're louder than me.
That's not the first time we've heard that.
How's that? Tell me if that's too loud.
So our friend James wanted to know, we have just a couple more questions and then we'll jump into the comment section. James wanted to know, did we learn anything during last summer's travels that you might apply to this year's trip out west, or will the new fifth wheel change the game entirely? So for those who are wondering, we have about 6.5 week trip planned starting around April 7th. That's going to take us through to Memorial Day. We're headed west. We're going to be in Colorado.
I like that you
Utah.
get closer and closer to admitting that it's a 7-week trip, because I keep calling it a 7-week trip and you keep calling it a 6 week. And now you've said 6.5 finally. It's 7 weeks.
It's probably closer to 8, to be honest.
It's exactly 7 weeks.
And so we'll be in Colorado. We will touch a little bit into Utah. We're going to be going up into Wyoming. Then we'll be coming through South Dakota and heading back here to Western Illinois. So when I think about that question, because that question kind of, I have to just admit, James, that question kind of like stumped me a little bit. And I was like, is there anything? I think what we learned was that the fifth wheel ended up being 43 feet because of last year's summer travels in the 25-foot Ibex in summertime. We were in like North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, over the summer down into Florida. So I think that was some of it. Oh, sure. I guess. Wow.
I didn't need you to do anything.
Oh, well, this looks awkward and like dangerously, kind of like when I spilled apple cider vinegar all over the floor earlier today when I was cooking. If I think about that, if anything that influenced, I actually think that trip influenced us to return to some places and to go west. Like, if that makes sense. Like, we weren't really intimidated because when we booked all that stuff, we actually didn't know we were going to have a 43-foot fifth wheel. We were still operating with being around 38, which I know is like, potatoes at that point. But we were still kind of thinking we were really going to be under 40 feet.
Yeah.
And still kind of working with Sabre to try and figure out, how we can get this sun deck for Abby, but also not have to have a 43-foot fifth wheel. And I don't know, Jay. I don't think other than we just knew that was the last big long trip last year we were going to take as a family of 5 in something that tiny.
It keeps going back to how long do we want to be out for? And we were pretty sold that we were going to only go out for like 2 weeks at a time. But the problem is we keep looking at the availability of our kids and stuff. And like we have these windows of opportunity and there aren't, there are maybe 2 of them a year.
Fleeting.
And we want to take advantage of those windows. So we want to be in a rig that's got the space for us to be comfortable for that amount of time and to carry the stuff we need for that amount of time, all that that goes with that.
Yeah, it's really, it is really about that. I think that we had thought we weren't going to do big, long trips like Jason just said. And then the more we got into it, I think, and a lot of people maybe run into this as well, you get out there and you're like, it's a lot of effort to get out there.
Yeah.
And if you're fortunate enough to be able to work from the road and your kids have that window and everybody's on board, then go for it, right? Like you might as well just stay out. And then we figure we'll be back in the summer and we'll just pepper that with smaller trips around here. We have been told for as long as we have been RVing that Iowa state parks are lovely. We have never been to an Iowa state park, so maybe we will go to one this summer and see if the rumors are true. Speaking of large fifth wheels or larger RVs, Cassie asked us in the Mile Marker Facebook group if we were, with the new big truck and the new Sabre, are we planning on doing content that's going to be navigating larger sites and site content geared towards planning ahead with big rigs?
Yeah. Look.
Clearly, because it's going to become a part of our life, there will be content that will come from that.
We are pros at trying to cram whatever size rig we have in a
Listen,
site.
you give me an overhang in the back,
is slightly too
I'm
small
coming
for it.
for your site.
So, we are not the big fifth wheel owners that are always going to pull throughs only and all that. We're still trying to get into the national parks and the state parks when we can. Obviously, that it is more of a challenge the larger the rig you have, but it's certainly something that we like to do and something that we like to share with people is possible. You can boondock on public land with a big fifth wheel. You can visit some national park campgrounds in a big fifth wheel. There are lots of opportunities out there, and we've done a lot of content on that in the past, but it definitely needs some refreshing, and we'll certainly do a lot more.
But our trip coming up, and we talk about this, you're going to see it scrolling down here. We're inviting a lot of you, if you aren't already, to come over and watch the RV Miles podcast over on its YouTube channel. We have an episode where we just recently, probably like the last 3 or 4 episodes back, where we did go over our travels for that chunk of time. And we are peppering in boondocking, state park camping, national park camping, private resort camping. We're doing it all in this rig.
And we booked those sites before. We booked those sites, I think, guessing at like 36 feet. Right?
We said we were at that point, we were at 38. So
38
we were
feet.
we were looking for 40-foot sites, and we did go back and check. Like,
we did not have to make really any changes, maybe one.
I think we had to do one.
When we found out that we were going to end up at 42-foot 11.
If Robin is here, Robin asked if we have dates for homecoming. That is scrolling down at the bottom, Robin, if you haven't seen it, but that is coming up September 24th through the 29th. That's like our big rally. We're calling the one that we're doing in May more of a hangout because we only have about 20. We only had 20 sites for that, and Mile Markers bought all of them. They sold us out before we could even put it on sale to the general public. The RV Miles Homecoming Rally is catered food. There's activities. It's a bigger event, and that is taking place September 24th through the 29th. Tickets go on sale for Mile Marker members on February 1st, and then tickets will go on sale to the general public for March 1st. And I believe right now we have 50 or 60 sites reserved for us at that event.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a hard time
No, and
getting
we still
tickets,
keep
but
we still try to keep that one pretty small, like 50 to 60 when it's just the two of us kind of organizing it. That's a good size. That ends up being about 200 people. We also feel like that allows everyone to still get an opportunity to know one another, because that is such a huge focus for us in anything we do in either in the virtual world or in real life. I was going to grab that question from Michael.
sorry.
That's right there.
So before you do though, there were a couple other questions about potential other rallies
Oh, yes.
this year, and
Yes.
that's probably going to be pretty much it. I know there was a question about will we ever have one in the Pacific Northwest. The
I
Utah
would
one is
love
probably
that.
as close as we're going to get anytime soon. We would love to at some point. I think going forward, my guess is going forward, this is a trial this year, is that each year we're going to have homecoming around home here and a rally somewhere else.
Yeah, so we are looking to go to Balloon Fiesta for anyone that's wanting to do that as well. I believe it's January 15th that they open up those RV site bookings. So
but we
put
won't
it
be
on.
having, we probably won't be having a rally around it. If we have anything around that, we will probably do just like a meetup thing at
meetup
a
in the
brewery or
evening.
something
So
like that, one
Tony
evening.
and Peggy help me out there. I'm
sort
going
of
to need your
thing.
guys' help
Yeah.
to figure that out.
If
in
we
the
can even
Albuquerque
make
area.
it work that we get there.
Yeah, we need a few more things to fall in place for that with schedules for the kids. All of our boys are really active in things now: theater, basketball, film, art, so many other things. I can't keep it all straight, but we need to know what the fall school schedule looks like first before we figure
Yeah.
out how long and when we can be at the Balloon Fiesta, and then dominoes will fall into
We're
place
talking
after
about
that.
too, maybe potentially doing a New Year's Eve thing in Texas, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. So we have 2 campgrounds in Texas that are interested
We're
in working with us.
We're having a family Christmas in Texas this year with
Jordan and
with
my
Abby's brother.
Christmas it's all you guys this year.
I think we're thinking that we'll take the RV down there. We're not 100% sure. So if we do, we might do a rally somewhere.
Yeah, and then we would just trek over to Tampa. The kids will come with us next year to the RV show. We'll all make it a big
Which is
family
another
trip.
possibility. We could have a rally before Tampa in Florida.
Yeah,
Who
so there's a
knows?
lot of
There's gonna be some
opportunities. So please,
possibilities.
possibilities. So again, best place to kind of keep up with all of that is just to join the rvmiles.com/mailing list and get on the mailing list, or the RV Miles Facebook group, or be even more in the know and even kind of help shape all these things and become a mile marker member. All right, let's start grabbing some questions
Sure.
here. This is from our friends in Albuquerque. They're wondering if we're going to be putting any new tech or any suspensions on the 37 RV Miles.
So it's going to be a Sabre. It's going to come
Yes.
as Sabre puts them out. It's going to be, it's going to fit right in the lineup of Sabre.
And that
have
was really important to us.
all the same sorts of appliances and stuff. Now that
Yeah.
said, we've been talking with some manufacturers and with Sabre about over time, not immediately, but over time, trying some new things out. So like maybe we'll throw a different air conditioner in, or what have you. We're definitely going to upgrade this solar
and mattresses.
situation to mattresses.
Obviously, new mattresses.
And I've considered figuring out a way to upgrade the suspension. The thing is, though, it comes on the it's on the Norco chassis. So upgrading suspensions a little, and I think that's a great thing in general. But upgrading the suspension's a little bit challenging with that, or at least I don't know that it is a possibility yet. But I'll try to find out.
We'll do a few aftermarket add-ons to it. Obviously, just things that we always use, But for us, designing this, we didn't go into this to design this for just Jason and Abby.
Yeah.
And we don't want to use it as only Jason and Abby can use it.
And we designed a floor plan, right? That's what we
Yeah.
designed. We didn't design a whole new line or type of RVs, which
No.
I would love to do someday. And I've got lots of ideas on that front too, but that wasn't the parameters of this project.
And it wasn't what we wanted to do for the first time
Yeah.
either. That's a huge undertaking. What we wanted to do was we wanted to learn about this process, and we learned so much, but we wanted to do something that when you see us in it, you see yourself in it. What you go and get, what you see that we're living in is the thing you get to go see and live in. We're not going to trick it out into being something that is not achievable for most RVers. Like, we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to do that with the 37 FLL. We didn't really want to do that with the Ibex. We want this to be something that, again, it's not just for us. Like, this will be a rig that anyone can go and buy. And the rig we take off the line, the number one rig that comes off the line, the number two rig, which could be yours, will look just like mine. Like, that was so important to us because...
Except ours will have a big RV Miles sticker on the back.
Okay, ours will have a big RV Miles sticker on the back, but yours will have a sticker by the door like ours that says, keep logging those RV miles. So, and, you know, but it's just things like that. Like, we wanted, you know, we wanted it to be an RV that was like an RV that we would purchase if we weren't RV Miles. Like, if that makes sense, I hope.
Well, and there was, you know, within a range of affordability. This is not like an
very
ultra luxury expensive fifth wheel either. It's you know, decidedly like mid grade with a luxury feel.
It's something we wanted it to be something we could afford, like that we felt comfortable saying to someone, buy this. I mean, there's a lot, you know, we talked about this a lot over the years with the 37 FLL. You know, we just found out that in the time that we were in that was their largest selling fifth wheel at Sabre during our time in the 37 FLL. And that is an incredible amount of responsibility that Jason and I carry on our shoulders, because we know that when people go to buy products, be that as simple as some wheel chocks that you're gonna, you know, put on the tires, all the way up to the actual rig you go purchase for your family, we feel an incredible amount of responsibility, and that we owe it to all of you to help, you know, to have product that, like, I can't even get my...
You don't need to defend it anymore.
I can't get my words out. I can't get my words out because I'm probably shouldn't be drinking Prosecco.
How did you like the Ibex for 1 to 2
medication.
people? It would have been great for 1 to 2 people. We had 5. But actually...
It was fine for 5 people for what we wanted it for.
I mean...
It was great. It was great for Baja to Alaska, that massive adventure.
But we certainly did something with it that not a lot of people would do, where we had no seating, no dinette, we just had beds. But if you're 2 people, it's great. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, I mean, of course, they have lots of different options. I mean, Ibex is a line of many different trailers, but something in the 25-foot range for 2 people with, you know, a bed, a kitchen area, and a bathroom, like you can even go smaller, is great.
Yeah, we have a couple of friends that are looking for a rig just for themselves, and they love our Ibex. They absolutely love it. I told them they should just buy it because we are selling it. So I was like, I'll sell it to you.
They don't need bunks, though.
But they don't need bunks. I know, they don't need bunks.
It's just a kind of waste of space for them.
Mike, thank you so much for offering to share the mile marker free trial on your podcast. That is open-ended at this point, so please feel free to share that. That's very kind.
It might just always be.
It might be.
1 month. Your first month is free. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems to be.
Right now, we just are really glad to see some new people coming in, and they're staying because they're learning just how it's not just Jason and I, it's the entire community is so awesome. And so, you know, they end up sticking around, which is wonderful because that's, you know, what we want. We want to build that community there that we can go and do hangouts that amazingly end up being just mile marker members. All right, we've got some more questions to grab here. Yes, I saw one and I'm...
Oh, sorry, I might have scrolled past it, but...
Okay.
But please put your questions in the comments if you have them. And as I said at the beginning, if you missed it, first of all, thanks for being here. Welcome. Also, those of you that are watching the replay, thanks for being here. You can leave comments as well, and we'll get back to them later on another day. But if you leave if you want to ask a question, if you'll put in all caps question or just a Q : ahead of it, so we can make sure to grab it, because what we see is just a feed of comments, and a lot of you are responding to other people as well. So
yeah. Absolutely. So again, I just want to grab Mike right here. For anyone that doesn't know Mike, Mike's great. He's got an awesome mission that he's working on right now. We encourage you to go over and check out what he's up to. Mike, we think that that's a really important discussion, actually. If you haven't listened to the latest podcast episode, one of the things that we would love to see in 2025 and beyond is for manufacturers to start thinking more about those living with any kind of disability, be that physical or mental, special, unique things we're also special and we're also unique, and we all deserve the opportunity to get out there and enjoy the RV lifestyle. And I think that there are some really simple things that manufacturers can be doing that could help make that more, this life more accessible, because there is nothing greater than being in the outdoors. It's fantastic.
I had a great conversation with the folks over at Winnebago's accessibility division. Winnebago has a whole accessibility division. They make a bunch of motorhomes, and they are pretty separate from the rest of the company, but a lot of what they do and what they've found out through their work has fed into design of RVs that are for anybody, because a lot of us have needs that aren't they're not necessarily a disability, but things that are harder for us to do, like people that are short have a hard time reaching things, and
tall people have a hard time
people
sleeping in beds or not hitting their head on door frames.
We've talked to a lot of people with arthritis who have a hard time opening the doors or unhooking the sewer. And
my future.
There are just lots of things like that that feed down from the very, very important discussion about having some more accessible, friendly RVers for people who have, real important needs, like a wheelchair or a walker, or they're blind or deaf or whatever it might be. But that all benefits all of us. So it would be nice to see a lot more work on that front.
Does this trigger you at all when things are in all caps?
No.
Like, do you? Because it reminds me of your old boss.
I did say put it all caps. What I meant was put the word question.
I love this because
in all caps and not the question.
Tom, thank you, because I knew immediately this was a question.
Oh,
Jason used to before we get to Tom's question. Jason used to have a boss when we lived in Chicago, and Jason was working in theater. He was the general manager of this theater called the Greenhouse Theater in Lincoln Park. And it was a four-stage theater, four-venue theater.
Yeah.
And it was owned by this man who had a lot of money, who knew nothing about theater.
It was his tax shelter.
It was his tax shelter.
I mean, there was some shady
100%.
money stuff going on.
And he wrote a play and really thought, listen, this guy was on a whole other level.
He wrote a few plays.
He wrote a few plays. Anyway,
but
every email he sent,
was
every
all caps.
email.
Every single one of them was all caps.
He would always put a little disclaimer under a signature that was like, I'm not yelling. It's just easier to read. I guarantee you that man was yelling every
It always felt like he was yelling. That's for sure.
Always. So that's why I asked Jason, are you triggered by an all caps question? Because this guy, he really was. He took the cake.
So we're going to be, I believe, working with Blue Ox and using their fifth wheel hitch and trying that out. I don't know if that's going to be our permanent hitch or whatever, but we're going to try it out and do a review of it and stuff for them. Blue Ox has been a great partner, a sponsor of the RV Miles podcast for a while, and we've used their adjustable ball mount with the Ibex, and it's fantastic. They have their fifth wheel hitch is kind of like the Anderson hitch, so it's like kind of the pyramid style, but it's all steel, and it doesn't use a coupler that mounts to the fifth wheel itself. It actually receives the actual pin, so it's significantly heavier than the Anderson hitch, but more robust and with some of the same benefits, easily removable out of the truck bed, and can use it with a goose ball instead of rails or puck system, all that. And we're going to try it out and see how it works. I do have a concern about it though, because I think
have you brought this up to them
I haven't.
yet?
I need to reach out to them.
Maybe you need to reach out to them
from
first
what I
before you bring up
understand,
your concern.
Well, I've seen two things. I've seen that it has a 4-inch offset. The Anderson hitch has an offset that I think is like 6 inches, and it can go either direction. Like you can have it go forward or back. And I believe the Blue Ox fifth wheel hitch has a 4-inch offset, meaning that the hitch point is 4 inches behind the axle, behind the gooseball that it connects to. The concern I have with that is we now have this really awesome tonneau cover, like this sliding garage door type tonneau cover, and it's got rails on it, right? And when our friends Jamie and Clay with their fifth wheel, they had an Anderson hitch and they had it offset, even though they had a long bed, they had it offset towards the rear because that's how Camping World installed it. Shocker. And it banged up the rails of their tonneau cover. So that's what I'm trying to work through right now to see if that's gonna cause a problem where the pin box, you don't want the pin. Now that we have a long bed, we don't have to worry about it being closer to the cab, which is often an issue.
Right,
with
so
fifth
you don't
wheels.
have to worry about me constantly yelling at you that you're
That
going to
I'm gonna
bust out
break
the
the
window.
window.
Yeah.
But if you have it offset towards the rear, then you might worry about the pin box hitting the rails of your truck. Usually not an issue, but when the rails come in, because you have a fancy, expensive tonneau cover, and you don't want to damage that, it could be an issue. So that's what we gotta figure out. And if Blue Ox doesn't know the answer, then they can just send us one and we'll find out for them. I don't mean we'll find out by damaging it.
I was
mean,
like,
we'll find out by
we
measuring.
won't find out.
We'll find out by
damaging,
figuring it out.
'cause
So
that's taken you 8 years to convince me on one of those covers. So, Tom, please do not apologize. I actually loved that you put it in all caps because I knew that it was a question. Basecamp Girl, I think this is a really great question. So there seems to be a trend that is eliminating gas stovetops for induction, a move away from propane. It's not your preferred way to cook. And what are our thoughts on this?
it's cheaper for the manufacturer.
Yeah. So
And there are a lot of people that are like, I only want electric. I don't want propane in my rig at all, and they're scared of propane.
So I actually would love to have a hybrid of both.
Sure, which
That would be my preferred.
When we were at, sorry, I just like dribbled all over my chin.
You did. Please fill up your glass and have some more.
Okay, listen, this is like 2 ounces, and I've had 2.
Okay.
When we were when we were in Elkhart last, we saw a new cooktop that had 2 gas burners and
Yes.
2 induction
and
burners.
that would be my preferred.
Yeah.
That would be my preferred because the induction would be great when like I'm really just trying to get dinner on the table really fast, cook up some noodles for the kids, like boom bam, water's boiled, making pasta. I prefer to cook on gas. I prefer to cook on propane. I prefer that for even with my oven. We have electric in our apartment right now, and I hate it with a passion. It's better
Like
for
the coil electric. Yeah.
I just every day I imagine what it would be like to throw that stove over the balcony. So I would prefer a hybrid, and I feel this way about a lot of things when it comes to the ability to boondock versus having hookups. Like, I think that there are some things within an RV. I think there is a happy medium we can find there where there are things, especially when it comes to the kitchen and how the fridge, what kind of fridge you have, what kind of, cooking appliances you have in there, how big are your water tanks, all of those things that can work harmoniously to allow both of these things without alienating one type of buyer or the other. And I think a hybrid of the induction top, even if it's just, again, the two burner, that would be great. Because at the end of the day, we never need 3 burners.
But I have been on.
Never.
I have been on a mission. See, part of this is this actually stems from the refrigerators, because it used to be every RV came with a propane / electric refrigerator, a 2-way or a 3-way, and usually a 2-way. And since the advent of better DC refrigerator compressors, now we're seeing everybody putting in DC refrigerators, and they can be good, they can be great, but they are much, much cheaper for the manufacturer to install than a propane refrigerator. So it's not necessarily an upgrade, but that's one more appliance. It's like, well, we don't have to have propane for this. So now if you're somebody that doesn't like using the propane furnace anyway, and you're not somebody that uses the oven, there's that buyer out there that is just plugging into the 30 amp or 50 amp at the campground, and maybe they're using, the electric fireplace for heat. They're probably not camping deep into the cold, and they're just using the microwave and convection oven.
Our kids are so excited that this RV is going to have a microwave because we don't have a microwave at our house because I won't get one.
We don't have the room for one at our current
We don't
home.
have the room for one, but to be honest, I don't want one.
Seriously, we don't have the room for one. It's a problem.
In true, Jason, so the kids are very excited because the RV is going to have one. But in true Jason and Abby fashion, we have decided within the last couple of days that we're done living in this apartment.
Yeah, we're moving.
And we're moving into a townhouse. And
it comes with a microwave, so you have to have one.
So it comes with a microwave, so everyone's very happy. But we're literally moving February 15th.
Perhaps we have.
Perhaps. Well, I mean, the application's in. We'll hear.
Put an application. So,
but in true Jason and Abby fashion.
But I do want to add here, though. I mean, I have had lots of people come to me and say, I don't want propane on my rig. I am scared of propane. It's going to start a fire. It's going to blow up. I don't want propane on my rig. And I always push back on them, and I'm challenging them saying, did you know that the vast majority of RV fires are electrical and they're not usually propane based? Now, there certainly have been issues with propane. I mean, we saw this fall, somebody had a propane leak and their RV exploded, and she eventually died. So there are certainly issues and there are concerns with it. But yeah, in general, I don't like the move towards induction only. I think you're seeing it a lot on motorhomes because the thing about induction is it does take less electricity, at least to warm up. You don't have to wait for it to warm up. It's quick, it's instant, and the heat transfer is quick. So you can run them off of a generator. So if you're in a Class A motorhome, something like that comes with a big onboard generator, often we're seeing those move towards the induction cooktops. And they can be nice too because they can usually be taken out and moved outside, and you can cook with them outside too. I like induction. It's just, I like gas too.
It's amazing how long we can talk about induction versus propane. I'm going to take us back in time prior to that question because I just saw this. Called to Journey wants to know if we considered the Anderson Ultimate Hitch. We have.
So we
used
that's
it.
what we had with our last Sabre.
Yeah.
And it was great.
I really liked it.
There's a lot of discourse online about issues with it. I think that's very, very overblown. A lot of people share damaged Anderson hitch photos, and they tend to be the same ones. But it can happen. They can fail. I've seen other hitches fail too, so it's not like an exclusive thing. It's a very, very popular hitch. It has very little bucking and chucking, which we loved.
Yeah, they loved theirs. I think they said they used it for
the
2
weight
years,
of it is fantastic. But we're just wanting to try something else and tell people about it. So that's why we're going to go with the Blue Ox one. And I think,
and honestly, we have been looking for so long for an opportunity to work with them when it comes to our setup. It was sort of like they joined into the RV Miles podcast community around the time that after, I believe, we had already installed the Anderson hitch. So
I think it's a good option for if it works out pretty well, which I think it will. I think it's a good option for people who do have some of those concerns about the Anderson Ultimate fifth wheel hitch, because it is steel and not aluminum, and you don't have to have that coupler and all that. So I think there are definitely some upsides to it. So I'm excited about checking it out.
Jason, Michael says that your beard looks Prosecco shiny. So Jason went to the barber
Gross.
yesterday.
Oh, they didn't touch my beard.
Oh, they
though.
didn't touch it. Oh, you did that yourself.
Yeah, I didn't.
I caught Jason the other day watching a
I didn't-
beard video
I
on
didn't
YouTube.
Let
he
them
was
touch it. I wasn't happy with them, so I was like,
Yeah,
let's not do the beard trim.
Jay's struggling to find someone he feels like understands his style needs and the importance of being on the YouTubes. And you gotta
Somebody,
keep those hairs looking
there
good.
was a comment recently about like how do I get the dye to drip perfectly like this? That's all natural, baby.
Oh, the idea that Jason, I love that because Jason is, I'm sorry, I just bumped your elbow. Jason is such a simple guy. He's ready to go in 5 minutes. It's not a lot that goes on there. And I love the idea that someone thinks you would be in front of the mirror with just
Now,
like a little tiny pencil brush.
I could shave the gray sections and I would look so much younger.
Or you could get rid of this section and just
That would be strange.
and just do a whole like just have this gone and do.
I can't shave the beard entirely because I look like a kid.
He looks 12 and I don't. So that's our one agreement. I'm not allowed to get bangs. He's not allowed to shave off his beard and mustache. Although I think bangs would be rockin', but I do respect that. So I know
I
bangs.
don't care what you do.
I'm willing. I'm Eric said he'd braid this for you. That would be amazing.
Fu Manchu.
That would be amazing. So we have we have a question. Okay, let's just grab this before we start. This is about camper jobs, RV jobs, retirement jobs. Do you need a long, big RV to get these jobs?
No.
Oh no.
No.
No, not at all.
Often work camper jobs, if you're there the whole season, maybe you're getting into the colder weather, so you might want to have a rig that can be cold weather friendly.
This is a really good time to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is actually a really good time if you're looking for. Wow. If you're looking for a work camper job at a campground, this is a really great time of year to start looking at that. I was actually just over at the Amana RV Parks website before this live started. That's where we host our homecoming in the fall. And they've got something on their website that they're looking for work campers for the upcoming season.
Usually the main thing is they want a presentable looking RV, and they want you to be usually fully self-contained, so that not a pop-up camper where you don't have a bathroom.
I'm pointing now the fingers
like that.
out. We actually have, Jason is doing.
I can't do this. It
so
makes
dainty.
me burp.
Jason is doing.
And that's not good on.
No, it's not.
Okay.
You good
live
now?
stream.
Can I get this? Can I get this out? You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jason is doing an RV life video where we're going to address this 10-year rule that is still in existence. Because I know we all think 10 years was 1995, but I'm here to tell you that 10 years was only 2015. And we were looking at some of the rigs recently from 2015, like just the outside of them compared to like a 2025. And that 10-year rule is bogus. It's bogus now. So we're going to have a video coming out soon that's going to just talk a little bit about that, what it is, why it is, things of that nature. But I always think when, you say like you need to have a presentable rig, like what does that mean anymore, right? Like what does that even pertain to? Because 10 years ago, some parks won't even let you in. And those rigs 10 years ago, there's a slight color difference. Like we were still doing like a little bit more brown, but you wouldn't know that rig was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So,
There's been a back and forth here going on about hooking up grills outside. I just want to.
Oh, you want in on this?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Well,
you love this.
So here's the thing. If you're trying to hook up a grill or a griddle to your RV and it has a quick connect on it, that quick connect is after your RV's propane regulator. And your grill also comes with a regulator. You don't want to be double regulated like that. You will have very low flames. So you have two options. You can get a grill or griddle that is meant for an RV that doesn't have a regulator in it, You can find kits or figure out how to do the surgery to remove the regulator. Or you can just have a third propane tank that's just for your grill or griddle. And all you have to do in that situation, which you're mentioning here, it is you just have to get the right hose. They make hoses that if you've got a grill or griddle that uses like the little green propane cylinders, or well, I guess that would be really the only option, or it's just a regular one that would normally have a regular barbecue tank. But you can get a hose that replaces where you would put that little green cylinder, and it has the right size on either end to put the big. We actually use instead of a third 20-pound tank, we have a little 5-pound tank that is
it's
just
so great.
a really great size. The only problem is you can never exchange it. You always have to refill it, but we prefer to do fills anyway because it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
And it lasts us a very long time with the Blackstone griddle, and we just absolutely love its little cute size.
It's, who sells it again? Is it Ignic?
Ours is from Ignic. It
Yeah.
comes with their it was sold as a bundle as part of their outdoor fire pit.
Yeah,
but
I think
they
since then they've
some-
gotten a little bigger. Their company's got a little bit bigger, and they've split
you
that.
can, you can find them at like places like Home Depot and Menards and stuff too. You can
Yeah.
find, if not that exact size, similar
They've been
small
great. Those
sizes.
5-pounders are really great too to take into a national park. Like, we talk a lot about like the best time to go into a park is late afternoon and into the dinner hour because everybody leaves to go home to have dinner, and you're bringing your dinner into the park. And we've had places like Yellowstone where we have felt like we've had that whole place to ourselves around the end of the evening. And those small little 5 gallons are so great to put in the back of the truck with the Blackstone and take it with you. And we have done that all across the country, up into national forests, going through long drives, stopping to have dinner, staying into the evening, bringing our Lucy lights, or what is the string light? Is it a Lucy light as well? The solar one that you can
it's
string
from
out?
them, but I
Is
can't
it from
remember
them? But I
it's
can't
called,
remember
yeah.
the name of it off the top of my head. And using that little 5-pounder to make dinner if we decide we didn't want to bring like just sandwiches or something. And I absolutely love it. I'm usually not one who goes in for those kinds of things. I'm like, oh, that seems really gimmicky. But this I can say is the one time where I thought it's actually really cool to have this refillable 5-pound, and then we're not carrying around those green ones that you're either just disposing of, which is so wasteful, or you're trying to get
So
them
there's
filled.
more discussion on here from Scott too. They search high and low for a Coleman adapter for a quick connect. Yeah, here's the other thing though that you can do. Depending on the type of rig you have, you can. I think you can put in a splitter that is before your RV's regulator, right? So that you have a splitter that sends off an unregulated line of propane. I'm not a propane expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think it's nice to have a third tank. It's really helpful just to be able to, even if you like run out, right? You can be able to refill them really quickly.
Absolutely. There was a question up
yeah.
here. Do you see?
No, but I saw one down there.
Well, there was another one here, and we have no.
No,
It
you
was.
could tell.
It was from which one? It was from Mr. Roboto. I saw
Yeah,
that
that's the one I'm
one.
talking about.
Oh, yo.
Right there.
Who are you right now?
Stop it. Will RVs ever compete on quality? Seems to be a race to cost-cutting options, 12-volt refrigerator, induction stuff. Yeah, I mean,
We actually,
Okay.
I think we talked. We hit on this a little bit on this week's podcast episode that's out.
Yeah.
Because we actually think that there was a little bit of backlash in the industry for all of the decontenting that they did, and it kind of pissed people off a lot.
quality and cost-cutting are not the same thing. And I think that's a really, really important distinction because, I mean, you can have a nice 12-volt refrigerator, and some people really like them. Some people never used that propane option, and it was getting to the point where, a lot of people just were not using the propane side of their refrigerator. And it really is possible now with solar to be able to use a 12-volt refrigerator. You know, what they're intending people do is you hook up your RV at home, you travel wherever you're traveling, and your solar or your battery, not even solar, your battery is just keeping your 12-volt refrigerator running until you get to the campground where you hook up on power. And people that do more than that stuff are going to have, you know, solar upgrades, they're going to have battery upgrades and all that sort of stuff. But in general, I think most people these days, if you were to design a rig, if I was to design a rig right now from scratch, like the whole line, I would still do 12-volt refrigerator. I would rather spend that money that the propane refrigerator costs because they have issues, right? They're expensive, but they had issues. I would rather spend that additional money on more battery power. And so I think I think there are quality brands that are still doing these things. And I think in general, a lot of us like the simplicity of something like a 12-volt refrigerator where there's just the compressor in it and it's just got DC power to it and it's not a lot to go wrong with it. But yeah, I mean, at this point, brands have found out that there was kind of a race to the bottom going on over the course of 2022 into 2023, or really 2023 into early 2024. And it was removing lots of stuff from units.
But like silly stuff. I mean, some of the things were great that they were removing, but at the end of the day, what they were actually really removing was the quality.
Yeah.
And listen, would the minute someone sees water damage on their countertop from just natural use of washing dishes, you better believe they're going to be real pissed.
There's no reason that
there's
any
no
brand
reason.
is not using solid surface countertops anymore. It's no reason.
Yeah.
And if I want to complain, if I have one complaint about the Ibex, is that it did have thermofoil countertops.
Yeah. But you know, it also didn't have a really functioning kitchen sink either. So
very small.
Not
sink.
like we were, you know, washing dishes on the regular. But
there, I mean, it's not even like this when it comes to cost. Like the cost ends up being like, oh, you're saving $15.
There is somebody in the comments that just needs to go. I'm not here for it.
Ignore them.
I am. It's just annoying. And I don't have a problem saying it. So we have a question here. So first off, everyone really thinks that Hank Hill needs to get in on this discussion, which I think is amazing. Yes, there are actually some tunnels that it's not having the propane. It's that you have to make sure the propane is off.
Yeah, I mean there are a few places where you can't have propane and you got to route around, but generally it's the propane just has to be turned off. And there are places where there are propane checkpoints where you have to stop and they want to see that your propane is off. And if you pass one of them, they will make you turn around and go back and do it again because we can speak from experience to that happening.
Bye.
So
I didn't know that was an option, but I just found it. Okay. Yeah, so I think, isn't there like, I don't know if it's on the trucker's map or there's something you can, what do you, like it would be through, I guess, maybe if you were using TripWizard or something.
Well, yeah, like RV Life TripWizard tells you where you're going to run into propane issues. But in general, the signs are on the road. Right.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it is nice to know before going into it, right? So you can just turn it off or do whatever you need to do before you start your travel day. It's nice to know what your route is going to be and the things that you can expect to see when you're on that route. But it is very limited. And I think it's
happened to us once.
Yes.
In all of our travels once.
Yeah. Once in 8 years, it's only happened to us.
We haven't spent a lot of time in the Northeast.
That's what I was about to say. It's all up in
So-
a swath of the country we have not been to yet. So yeah, I would but it's very easy to find that out. And yeah, let's see. You guys are all talking a lot about Hank Hill. I love it. That's fantastic. Any other questions? We are getting close to the end of our time together. I do believe it is 9 o'clock. We probably should go home to the kids here soon. I mean, they're fine. Like, what? Let's be honest. What are they really doing? Henry has overtaken the living room and he turned it into a Jedi training center. This is no kid. He got a new lightsaber that he bought with his Christmas money. Our living room is currently set up like he is the Jedi teacher, and he has brought all his stuffed animals out there, and he has used all the pillows to create this area, and he's training his Padawans, and he's turned half of our couch into a spaceship. Jack just got back from McDonald's with a friend, so he's in his room. And Ethan is probably laying on the floor in our bedroom because he does that on the regular. It just goes, and that's where he likes to hang out, is just on the floor in our bedroom. Yes, book club is still on for the end of the month. We can roll into a little bit about mile markers. So we know you all have heard us talk about our mile marker community. They are really a driving force behind a lot of what we've been able to accomplish in 2024 here at RV Miles through their support. And one of the things that we do as a community is we have book club every other month. And so yes, book club is still on, Tina. It is happening January 27th. Please forgive me. I'm forgetting the name of the book.
We also should say our fantasy football league for mile markers just ended.
It did.
And congratulations to Jordan.
Congratulations, Jordan. I don't know if he's here. If he's not, we will certainly say something in the group as well. But Jordan is the mile marker fantasy football league Super Bowl winner. I am nowhere near the Super Bowl winner in that league. It was rough. It was rough.
This is.
Thank you.
This is closer to happening than it's ever been.
It's so close.
We've gone. Very close.
It's so close.
Those outlines have been made. Footage has been. We're just in the editing process.
Yes,
now.
So we're in the editing process right now. We have to do some voiceovers and some sit-down talking heads, and then the first episode is coming out. But as a mile marker member, so yes, Tina, I will tag you on the event that I set up in the group for the book club. It's happening January 27th. We are reading, I think it's called The Life Impossible, and I believe it's by Matt Haig, Haigg, I believe is how you spell his last name. But this is just one of the many things that we do as a community when you become a mile marker member. In addition to this monthly night live that we do at the first Monday of every month, we also have a behind the scenes podcast that we do for everyone, which is why James is bringing up RV Jeopardy.
We've talked about what we're going to, once the studio is complete here, we're going to try and have like some like game show, like some experiences like this, what we're doing now, this live stream, doing some live stream type RV camping travel game shows with mile marker members. It's gonna be fun.
Mile marker members also get a free subscription to RV Today magazine from our friends over there at RV Today. We work pretty regularly with them. In fact, every magazine that they put out, they
wow, you added a lot of letters to his last name.
Did I? I just added one G.
But Penelope forgot a T in the, so.
I added one G. I said Haigg.
Okay.
I added one G.
I don't know.
We also do, Jason and Brian are going to be getting up online poker. Once we get back from Tampa, we'll have fantasy football. We have a private Facebook group.
We'll see.
And also mile marker members get early access and discounts to all RV Miles events in the future. So that is one of the reasons why the High Desert Hangout, which only had 20 sites available to it, sold out before it went on sale to the general public.
Kathy, we just had a meal from it, and we had one last night and one the night before, and they've been great.
Yeah, I brought dinner over for Jason and I tonight because he did not come home today. He's been here since about 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, if you haven't seen, I just put a video out on the channel. I got to go back to California for the third time and visit Pebble again. They have the final version of the Pebble Flow, the production ready version. I got to see the final version. They took a lot of feedback from the comments on the other videos that I did there from you guys. and implemented them. And I think they've done a really great job. But I also got to drive it. I got to drive a powered axle travel trailer, which was a really interesting experience. And I think it's not going to be every trailer anytime soon, but it's certainly an interesting option for the right person.
We hopefully there's a possibility sometime in 2025 we might return out there to Pebble and actually camp in it for a few nights and get an experience of what it's like to be in that, because I think that those are just so many questions about that it's really hard to answer until someone's actually been in it. And I know.
Listen, Paul, when I was editing that, I was like, oh man, I only have one hand on the wheel this entire video. Which, okay, yeah, right. 2 hands on the wheel, I know. But
I don't.
How many people ever have 2 hands on the wheel?
The next time you give me
at least
any crap.
Oh, no.
Any.
No.
For
no,
me
no,
being
no,
like,
no, no,
can
no,
we
no,
can we
because
stick
here's what I
around
do.
63?
I do one hand on the wheel and like one hand on my lap or the armrest, so that second hand is always ready, right? This one hand on the wheel, the other one with the coffee that can't go into the coffee, can't go into the cup holder because it'll spill.
But not when I'm towing. Not when I have a giant RV behind me. That is when I'm on my way to Target. Or
That's
I've
the
left
difference.
Or
It's
I've
just
left
as
Target.
bad.
Or I've left Target and I have a coffee in my hand and I need to drink it. I excel at one-hand driving.
You give me a hard time for so many driving things, and that's the only thing that I've ever said. You need to stop doing that.
But when folks,
and you're never going to stop doing
folks, when Baja to Alaska comes out and you see your girl driving,
she's
and
got 2
towing,
hands on the wheel. That's for sure.
That will be a solid 2-hander. Like you will see that I am at 10 and 2, exactly where you're supposed to be, and I am keeping it at a safe speed, and I'm driving those wilderness roads.
Penelope,
like a boss.
I don't know what's going on with that. The Airstream made They made a powered chassis that we saw
2022.
January of 21.
No, 2022.
January of 22 we saw. They haven't put it on a unit yet. Lippert made a powered chassis. Hasn't been put on a unit yet. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with those other ones. It just hasn't happened.
This is a really good point. So my very first car was a manual. It was a Saturn. That was I drove. My parents had a car that I drove when I was like a teenager.
I believe you're supposed to put the other hand back on the wheel though after you.
No, you keep it there. Even when you finally have it in fifth and you're on the highway, it's just where it rests. You've got one hand here and your other hand rests there because you never know. So that's a really good point. I wonder if that is part of the reason why I'm just very comfortable. Like, you gotta have something in that hand while I'm driving, I guess. Anyway, wait, I ended up in last place. I thought Ethan was in last place in the mile marker fantasy league.
Honestly, I didn't scroll down past like 4th.
Just so you know, I'm in 7th place in the
I know I'm in
family
8th.
league.
I don't know
in my
anybody
other
that's
league.
after me, but I'm in 8th.
Yeah, it's tough. Concerned that Pebble is not considered a trailer in several states due to drive unit. Huh.
I don't think so because it cannot. We'll see. I don't know, but it can't be driven. You know, you have to have a tow vehicle.
Yeah, you have to tow it.
It's a power assist.
What were you driving when you were towing it?
We were a Porsche Cayenne.
Yes.
Yeah.
The typical tow vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice little car.
Oh, I'm sure it was a nice little. I'm sure you very much so enjoyed it. Like, you were probably like,
still, even
can
with
I
the
just take
power
this off?
assisted axle, that's not the vehicle I would tow that with. But I could see the benefits of with like an F-150 or something like that.
So when we saw the demonstration for this, Paul, back in 2022 at the show, and then we got to tour it and we talked a little bit, it was really cool. Yeah. I actually thought it was I was very excited for it.
This is essentially that. That's essentially what Pebble's made.
There were several that year when there were a couple companies that did some electrical RV stuff.
There's the Winnebago. They had their
Which they had
their
a long way to
concept.
go with that, but
They had their concept, and then Thor had their Thor Vision vehicle concept.
look at all these new mile marker members we're
Welcome,
gaining
everybody.
tonight. That's so awesome. Thanks, you guys. We're so excited to have you.
And those the motorhomes I understand not coming to fruition yet because there has just been not the chassis maker and enough battery power for it. Though I think is very possible with a range extender at this point. The E-Stream chassis made a lot of sense. Will people buy it? I don't know.
I'm just really surprised that Airstream didn't like have a through thought or finish thought with that, because it was of everything that we saw, and then the Airstream seems like the most natural.
It seemed very close to ready. It seemed like it was
The guy backed the thing up with the iPad. I mean, they maybe needed to look at the wheel design on that jack a little bit. That was a little questionable, but
I will say, I think a lot of people are concerned about single axle. When I've seen people talk about the Pebble, in general, people are concerned about having a single axle. And
yeah, I mean,
what
I
happens
was.
when you get a flat tire and,
I
and
was.
all that.
Single axle in general makes
They
me
are
nervous.
much more robust tires on the Pebble than you would find on any other single axle trailer. I will say that, but that is a understandable concern.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I don't get the impression so far with Tampa, and I know we haven't talked much about the RV Super Show and kind of like what's going to be there, but I don't get the impression that we're going to see a lot of that this year. I think we're going to see a lot.
There's going to be a lot of floor plan stuff.
I think we're going to see a lot of safe this year. So I was looking at a press release that came in today, and they were like, select a time to come see, we'll have representatives for each of these, floor plans. And I was looking it over, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Well, part of that
I don't have the time. I need
Part
you
of
to
that
give me
is,
some
like,
bullet points here.
This particular manufacturer we're talking about makes a lot of stuff, and there's the need to like say everything that's new instead of like, here's the headline, right? So whenever we go to these things, I always feel like I got to go to somebody and be like, look, what's really cool? Like, what's new and really
Yeah,
cool? Like, don't give me the like, oh, this has a new color interior. Don't give me like this
We
has
brought someone in to
a new
organize
garbage
this.
can holder. Get what is really unique and new and interesting, and I usually find some cool stuff out that way. Like, what would you really want to show off?
I'm glad I'm not the only one. They sent a lot of emails today. There were a lot of emails. And at first I was like, did they take that email back? Because they didn't want us to come. I think that this is going to be a really safe year at the show. And I think part of that is because there's going to be I do think there's going to be more competition now. I think manufacturers are going to have to work a little bit harder now for their customer, for our dollars, as they should be. And so I think we're going to see some, maybe not a lot of innovation this year. I think destination trailers are going to be a pretty hot topic. We know that someone in the mile marker group, I'm sorry we didn't get to that question, asked about purchasing sites, seasonal sites, and things of that nature. It's not something we have a lot of knowledge on, but it has certainly grown in popularity over the last several years. Owning your RV site, bringing something like a destination trailer there and just having it, and then you have that campsite and you go back to it, season after season after season. I think we're going to see a lot of that at the show. So I'll be curious to see from a news standpoint, what we're able to put together. There's been a couple things that'll be kind of new, but so far what I'm seeing coming in and what I've heard, and you may have heard differently, you're a little bit more dialed in than I am.
Well, some of this doesn't get announced till like a couple days before, right? Like,
yeah.
We know the Grand Design Super C is going to be one of the
That's gonna be
newer
there.
big things. But there's going to be the RV Miles fifth wheel.
I think
And
that's the biggest thing at the Super Show this year. And I mean, if I'm honest,
to be honest, though, but
again, it's just a new floor-
collaborations like that, because we're not the only ones.
a new floor plan.
Our
It's
friends
about-
Nate and Marissa are
They're
also
Grand
doing
Design, yeah.
They're also doing a custom floor plan, and
I believe it's supposed to be there. I haven't had a chance to check in with them, but I also haven't seen anything from Grand Design. So, but last I heard, it was also supposed to be at the show. So I think there'll be some opportunities for things like that.
in
But
general, you're going to see a lot of decks. You're going to see
So-
a lot of weird, quirky floor plans trying to do new things.
I can't, and I won't. I
And-
won't say it because it's a family show. I cannot hear. There will be a lot of decks without thinking about that Australian
Oh my gosh.
deck commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. Just if you're interested in what I'm talking about, or then but you should look it up as well. Much like many of you who knew what we were talking about when we said we were going to call the truck Matt. That was amazing. That was amazing how many of you knew that reference, because I feel like that is a pretty deep cut into the Star Wars world. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. And I was really impressed by how many of you. It's so good, Paul. It's so good. Yep. Yeah, so many really large decks all over the show. So it wouldn't be the Tampa show without it. That's so good. So
Tony, yes, look, and somebody else mentioned living vehicle. At
Yes.
this point, we've got our own custom trailer coming, but I would
Call me
one day.
still.
One day, I would love to just, if I'm not going to get a living vehicle, I'll just copy one and build it.
we saw them, and someone here earlier tonight.
They cost more than a house, but
Yeah, I want to say hi to. We met in Seattle, and it was really great to see you pop in the comments at the top of the show. We saw those in Seattle, and I was just like, what are we doing with our lives? What are we doing with our lives?
it was just perfect.
They're lovely. I think, I'm sure they have their annoyances, and nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect.
They built 5 of them a year, and they cost $300,000.
Yeah.
That's the annoying part.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
for
annoying
a trailer,
part.
right?
But I also really want an earth roamer. So I want a fleet.
Yeah.
I want an earth roamer. I want a living vehicle.
I don't think
I will.
I think if we ever have the money, you're choosing between those. You're not getting both.
No, and I will always have a 37 RV miles. That will be a forever. That is the legacy I will leave to my children. And in fact, the kids were saying the other day, they were just like, maybe we should just live in it. And I was like, oh, you guys want to full-time travel again? And then they're like, no, I mean, we want to
just
hang
want to
out
live
here. And I was like, oh,
We're
no.
you know how
no.
cold it gets here. You're
I
not
was like,
living
no.
in an RV
We're not full-timing.
in negative 10 degrees.
Not full-timing in Rock Island, Illinois. It's not happening. If we're going to be in this thing, we're going to kick out and go. So, but I think, is there anything really else we want to cover before we say goodnight?
No, just so y'all know, if you're big watchers of our news videos and stuff, the schedule is really
Oh, it's all over the place right now. Welcome to the new year.
Because of the holidays, and then now us going to Tampa and the cruise and stuff
Oh my gosh, the cruise!
Just because next week's video has to come out on Thursday because we're covering the show on it, can't come out on Monday. So this week's news video will be on Thursday. Next week's news video will be on Thursday. The following week will not have a news video.
There will not be one. But there will be a fun little clip from the RV Miles podcast that we're going to drop over on this channel, just to talk about why your RV trip sucked and what you can do to improve it. But we are very, very excited. We haven't been able to talk much about this, and the kids are not watching this, which is why we can talk about it, because Henry, I was talking to my friend who's going with us on this cruise a little earlier today, and Henry was just
They
so
know.
they know, but it's they're rightly so, they're a little jealous.
They're miffed.
Yeah, so after Tampa, we're taking our yearly trip that I guess last year was our first. We can now call it our inaugural, our yearly little vacation.
Annual.
Thank you. Our annual. We're going on a cruise for a week on the brand new Disney Treasure, which is the ship that just launched. Their maiden voyage was December 21st. So
that's why we won't be at the second half of the Tampa show.
yes, that's why
we kick out
won't,
of there Thursday evening.
because we had booked this before. We thought it was going to work out better than it did, but it didn't. So we're going on this.
We also didn't think we were debuting at Fifth Wheel, but
No, we didn't think we were debuting a fifth wheel. And so we're going on this cruise, which, you know, if you've got cruise motion sickness suggestions for me, I would love to hear them. I'm prone to it. Yeah, I would love to know some of those suggestions.
Are we going live from Lighthouse Point? I get Starlink in a backpack.
Yeah, we're
out
gonna.
there. Do they have Wi-Fi at Lighthouse Point?
I think they might have. Actually,
much
we're
does
not
it
going to
cost?
Lighthouse. We're not going to Lighthouse
not?
Point. No, we're only going to Castaway Key. So
Really?
yes,
I thought we
so
went to
no,
both of them.
we're going to. It'll be fun. We've never been to these places. We're going to St. Thomas and the British Virgin Islands or Isles, and then we are only
I believe
going.
those words mean the same thing.
I think they do. And then we are going to Castaway Key. That's the only Disney island that we're going to. We have a lot of days at sea, which will be great. But yeah.
I guess an Earthroamer's deck.
It'll never not get old. Daniel says I should drink tequila for motion sickness. That feels like a really bad idea for me. I am not a tequila drinker. I mean, I could do it if I had to, but it's not my thing. How do we respond to wine? How do we respond to wine and motion sickness?
I think in general, alcohol and motion sickness don't go together very well.
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? So
I mean, you've done it before. It's not.
I have done it before. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening. It was such a really wonderful time to be able to open this up to an all skate and see so many of you that we don't.
We'll stabilize you.
Oh, so gross. Oh, I'll let Jason go first when he's in the Haunted Mansion bar, and he can tell me how it works out. So we look forward to seeing some of you in just a few days at the Florida RV Super Show. We will be with our Sabre 37 RV miles on Wednesday, January 15th from 1 to 4, and then on Thursday, January 16th from 10 to 1. We would be honored if we could give you a tour of that. And
we're also going to have a bunch of stickers with us if anybody wants a sticker.
we will have stickers. We'll
bring the mile marker stickers too. We have new mile marker stickers.
We did.
I shouldn't say that because you're going to want them.
Well, we're going to send you all new ones.
They're just not that different.
Yeah. Well, we did cut out.
They're cutouts.
Yeah.
Instead of the square.
Because Tina had to actually go cut hers out, which I stole her idea and did the same here. So
I also
she
made
doesn't have
them a
to do
little
that now.
bigger, so the text size matches the RV miles. You know.
Yeah. So that's another perk you get if you become a mile marker member.
A sticker.
I'll send you a sticker.
Hey, listen, the stickers aren't cheap.
God, stickers are so expensive these
Joshua
days.
knows.
Jeez.
I was like,
Stickers are so expensive.
they are. I mean, I think we just spent $500, $300. We just spent $375.
Don't tell me that. Are you serious?
$350 on stickers. You were sitting with me. You're like, why is it that much? And I was like, well, I think we should get 500, shouldn't we?
I think I thought there was not a 3 in front of that. Like $50. Oh, no. You guys, if we give you a sticker, you better put that sticker somewhere where people can see it. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how is it that the 500 stickers cost more than like a television? Isn't that weird?
Well, maybe it's the evolution. So like maybe in like 3 years, stickers will cost
I will say this.
20 cents.
They are good stickers. They're like UV, like good to put on. They're not like crappy stickers.
But please only take one of our $350 worth of stickers if you actually want to display it somewhere, I guess. So wowzers. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to welcoming several of you into the new mile marker community. As a reminder, you can get a free month trial membership. Just go to rvmiles.com/mile markers. We can't wait to see so many of you in Tampa in just a few weeks. And for those of you who are mile markers, we will be back next month at the first Monday of February. Book club is coming up. There's lots of things. The new cookbook challenge for 2025 is out. Very excited to get that going. But thank you all so much. Regardless of how you support RV Miles, we are so thankful that you do and that you spend your time with us each and every week. It means the world to Jason and I that we can have our own small business in doing something that we truly love and feel passionate about every single day. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm going to take this painted bearded guy home. And we will
The longer it gets, the more it really does look.
I know. I mean, yours is, I just wish I could get that kind of ombre. I'm jealous. All right, folks, thank you so much. We will talk to you very soon. We wish you a very wonderful 2025. Enjoy your travels. We'll see you down the road.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.